an early morning version of the Backpacking Podcast, where I am here with my good friend who just finished his breakfast. He's fat and happy. He's the redheaded king of Kentucky backpacking, Jeremiah Stringer. What's going on, dude?
Guten Tag.
You got your coffee with you?
I got my coffee. I'm a dog dad, according to the cup. I'm here, baby. Just had chocolate chip pancakes and bacon, real bacon, not that fake turkey bacon.
Ooh, that's good stuff, man. That's really good stuff. So, what do you want to talk about today, man? This is kind of one of those. Let's just shoot for something. And let's talk about some things. What do you want to talk about today?
Well, let's get an update on how your back's doing, because I know last week you were really struggling.
Yeah. So, I did not get good news this past week. I have a sciatica, so I am pumping myself full of steroids and muscle relaxers. I didn't take any before this podcast though because I wanted to be coherent while we talked. But yeah, it's pretty bad. It's pain down through my leg. Had several friends that have had these, and I always felt really bad for them, but I didn't realize how bad it was. So kind of stinks because we were supposed to be going out tomorrow for an overnight, and now I can't go, and I'm not real happy about it.
Well, I don't know if you've looked, but it's not looking good on the weather front.
It's looking like thunderstorms, isn't it?
Well, our special guest that was supposed to be on this episode, none other than Mr. Backpacking with Jason, sir. And since John couldn't go, we decided that we were going to do like a little kayaking trip, because I don't know where you live, but
Hot.
seems like all across the U.S. there's been this massive heat wave. So we're like, well, we need to do some of that lake life, right? So
Yeah, man.
yeah, we can take out the kayaks. And then I texted him yesterday and I was like, hey man, have you been looking at this weather? Because it's like 80% chance of thunderstorms with heavy rainfall.
And you would be in a body of water with thunderstorms.
Yeah. And
Not a
then
good
camping.
call.
Now camping, you'd be right there next to the water too. So I don't know. I'm supposed to be with him. Let's see, today is Monday, right?
Yeah.
So I think we're doing a little mini vacay on Thursday. So it won't be the end of the world if we have to cancel. But what are you
Maybe
gonna
the
do?
maybe the three of us just need to get together and have a steak dinner or something.
Hey man, count me in for that.
That might be an option, you know. Make the
Mm.
best out of what you can.
So I've been trying these YouTube shorts. I was trying to do one every day.
I noticed that.
And I basically have taken my phone and I set it up in my little recording studio. I got my tripod, my lights. I even hooked up. I don't know. I didn't know this. I thought you needed a different cord, but my little, what is it? Rode Video Micro or something like that. You know which
Yeah.
microphone I'm talking about?
Yeah. Yeah.
I set that up and put it as a boom mic over the top of me so the audio's good, because YouTube audio is like number one.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Without good audio, it's tough to watch a video. So hooked that up, plugged it into my phone, and it worked perfectly fine. I didn't know. I thought that you had to have a different cord with a different number of those little rings. You know what I'm
Oh
talking?
yeah. Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
So I hooked all that up, set it up, and done the first YouTube short and didn't do captions. And then I put captions on the next one, and I was like, oh, this is like double the amount of engagement on there. And
Now, does it automatically do the captions for you, or did you have to type them in?
I've been doing it the poor man's way. So I've been doing YouTube shorts, but what I did was record the video and then upload it as a reel to Instagram, and then use Instagram to create the closed captions. Like whenever you do your reel, you just swipe up and you can click closed caption. I don't know about yours, but it's like the first option on mine.
You know, I've not done those yet. I need to. And here's the thing. I've realized I've been saying this for a while, but there's gonna be some major changes to my channel. Some people probably notice I've been doing an every Friday live stream. That's a new thing I've started doing. Videos are gonna change pretty drastically too. So there's a lot of stuff I'm getting ready to change up. And one of the things I'm wanting to do is Instagram Reels. Maybe look at TikTok a little bit. I don't know. I'm trying
It's
to figure out
all
what to do.
anything with that. Is it 9x16? Is that like your vertical video basically?
Something
That's
like that.
16:9 would be horizontal, right?
Right.
You just
Right.
flip that,
Yep.
and if you do it with that aspect ratio, I put it on Instagram, and then I click, like, save to my camera roll,
Yeah.
iPhone, and then I upload it to YouTube, and then I also for some reason, I don't know, my Facebook and Instagram are linked, and typically when I make an Instagram post,
Yeah.
then it uploads it to Facebook too, like my Jeremiah Stringer Hikes Facebook,
Yeah.
but it doesn't do that with the reels, so then I had to upload it to Facebook, and I was thinking, well, might as well upload it to TikTok too, like, it's not really any extra work, the content's already made.
Right.
It's
Right.
just you gotta go through the motions of logging into the app and uploading it and then like, titling it and that kinda stuff.
Yeah. Well, let me ask you this, since we're on the topic of these videos, what is it that you're wanting to accomplish, like, from that content? Like, why the shorts? What does that do for people?
Well, like, the average time before somebody clicks away on something, whatever it is, whether it's morning news or TikTok or a long form YouTube video or whatever, it's like 3 to 8 seconds. So
Right.
the short form content, I think it's the future. And if you look at all the apps, like here's how you know, in my opinion, that an app is pushing something. If every single app, whenever you click like to create something and it gives you the same first option, that's what they're trying to get you to do.
Mhm.
And I don't really understand the monetization side for them, how if they're making more money as a platform doing these kind of videos and stuff.
Right.
But for me, it takes a lot less energy and time to make shorts because like my brainstorming, a lot of times I'll just like be laying in bed and think of ideas for like YouTube videos and that kind of stuff.
Mhm.
But I also like sit down and just take a notepad and just start writing like different ideas. But with the shorts, I'm like, well, I want to do something I want to do. It's fun. It's low risk because I mean, maybe you invested 30 minutes into it, maybe
Mhm.
less, maybe an hour if you work really hard and put it on your computer and edit it there and stuff.
Right.
But I can just walk around like my background. If you're watching the video of this podcast, it's basically the storage of all my backpacking and camping gear. So, like, for example, I was looking around and I was like, what do I want to make a short about today? I was trying to do one every day except for a day that I uploaded like a long form video, which I did one last week.
Right.
And I was looking and I saw my fuel container and I was like, well, what is a problem that everybody runs into when it comes to their gear or something that is
Okay, so
more.
now you're getting at what my question was. That now you're getting to where my question is. Like, it seems like what you've done is you're trying to help backpackers fix problems. That seems like that's been kind of the thing you've been doing with these is like helping backpackers, especially beginners, because you did the one thing on trekking poles. Like a lot of people don't realize when you hold your trekking poles properly, you're supposed to put your hands up underneath and through the straps, not down and through the straps. A lot of
Yeah.
people don't realize that, and I've shown a few people that, and they've all told me, man, it really made a difference, and it's such a small thing, but those little tips like you've been doing have been huge.
Yeah, like the trekking poles, if you put your hand down through the loop, that loop is made to help keep your trekking pole from just falling down, right?
Right.
Like you losing the trekking pole. But if you put it down through, then if you fall, you pin your hand between the loop and the pole.
Yeah.
So people can get dislocated thumbs. But if you
Yep.
stick your hand up through the loop, it gives you a different type of leverage and it's a little safer. You can kind of catch yourself. But
And you
yeah,
get better stability with the pole too. Like that's another thing. It is you probably notice it. It's actually the strap is actually helping you with the trekking
yeah,
pole.
it's
It's
helping
not
you.
one of those things where when you put it through, it's real loose when you come through the top, but when you go underneath and you hold it, it's actually held on pretty secure, which you could save your wrists big time too. Because if you were to fall, you've got control of that pole a little bit more. When you're coming down through, that pole's loosey goosey, and if it twists a certain way, it could really jack you up.
I learned this, excuse me, from Bigfoot.
Yeah,
He has a YouTube channel. He's done the AT, and a bunch
I
of others
miss his channel, by the way.
do too, man.
He was so good,
He's somewhere raising his kid and managing a McDonald's.
loving his life.
Yep. So I learned that from him, and, he sticks his hand down through, and I do that sometimes too,
Mhm.
but if my trekking pole is long enough, see, I got the problem. Somebody commented and said that there's one trekking pole, I can't remember who makes it, but it extends, like, up to 62 inches, I think. So,
Wow.
it's or maybe it's 67. It was really, really long.
Wow. That is long.
My problem is my trekking poles are always too short. So, like, I can't get the 90-degree angle bend at my arm if I just am holding the trekking pole and touching the ground. So, I want it to be a little bit long, so if I wanna stick my hand down through it,
Right.
basically, I use my wrist to create leverage by putting pressure on the pole, but
Mhm.
like I said, it's not as safe, so I don't know if I should really advocate for it.
Yeah, I go underneath. Ever since I started doing that, it just to me, it just feels like you've got a more secure connection with your trekking pole. I just think it's a better way of doing it. So I was
Yeah,
glad to see you did that on your video because nobody ever talks about that.
yeah,
So,
and the one with the fuel, I was like, the problem that I have with my fuel canisters is, like, I'll use it, and then I'll just throw it in the bin, and then the next time I'm like, "Okay, well, I'm going on a 3-day. I wanna make sure I have enough fuel. I better take a new one." So, like, I'll buy them in bulk. I might buy 3 or 4 at a time,
yeah.
and, I just throw them in this bin, and then you have a bunch of partially empty cans, and so
Mm.
they're just sitting there, like, literally just sitting there. You're wasting money buying more and more cans.
Yeah, because 'cause you're afraid to take it out because you don't know how much is left in it.
Yeah, and you can check it. You can check it. I think we talked before, not too long
Yeah,
ago, about floating them and
float
stuff,
'em in water, yeah.
but I've decided to make my little YouTube short using a piece of gear, um, a little adapter. It's called the Gworks. It's basically a Lindell valve, and it lets you open a valve between canisters. And
Mhm.
I put this in a video, like a long form YouTube video, probably like 3 or 4 months ago, and I had a lot of people that were, like, telling me how unsafe this is and blah, 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 and I said on the video, like, "Do this at your own risk." These canisters aren't made they're made for one-time use, but they degrade over time.
Yeah,
So, like, you don't have to do this, but just know, like, it'd be safer to buy a new can, but you can transfer fuel from one to another, and you, like, stick it in the freezer for 15 minutes and then take it out and you screw the valve on and then put another canister on top, and it basically looks like an hourglass, and you open up the valve and fuel will run from the top one to the bottom. Gravity will pull that down. It doesn't
yep,
equalize the pressure, and I made the YouTube short, and people are commenting on there like, "Hey, man, you gotta be careful doing this, blah, 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 blah." And I was like, "Yeah." So that was one of the things I had to weigh whenever I was making it because I knew from saying something about it before in a different video that people are gonna be like, "Nobody should ever do this." And then other people will be like, "Man, this is gonna save me so much time." And then other people are like, "I've been doing this for years and I
yeah.
always buy the big canisters and refill my little canisters." But I said on there, like, you can't overfill them because you overfill them, the pressure's off, and then they don't light right.
Well, that and you got a problem, you could rupture the container too, which is not good.
No, you get one of those things to explode, that's really dangerous.
It's
So,
bad. That's a bad situation for everybody. It's like setting off a grenade in your garage. You don't wanna do that.
yeah, the shrapnel.
Yeah,
So, with the shorts, I've been trying also to be like, "Okay, well, it has to be worth my time too." Like, if I'm gonna put an hour into creating this content, I coulda put that hour somewhere else. I coulda
yeah,
put it into the podcast, making the podcast better, the YouTube channel, or one of my Jeremiah Stringer Hikes, pages on whatever platform.
right.
So, I was like, "Well, how can I also not just give people info or entertainment, but also somehow try to monetize it for me?" Because people don't know, like, if you make a YouTube video and you monetize it with ads, like, YouTube takes half the revenue just off the top. So if you're gonna make $100 on that video, let's say you put 5 hours into it, you're gonna make $100. So $20 an hour, that's not too bad money, $20 an hour, especially if
Yeah,
you're doing something that you really enjoy, you
yeah,
know? So, you coulda made 200 because YouTube took half of it. So with the shorts, it's even less. Like, I made one and I think it got, like, I don't know, 2 or 3,000 views. Take a guess how much money I made off of the advertising.
$4.
It was like 92 cents.
92 cents.
Hey,
Wow.
yeah. So it's very like now you're thinking, okay, well, I'm putting time and energy into.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh. We have a breakdown of coverage here. So Jeremiah has officially exited, I think, a little bit. I think his internet's acting up.
Oh,
So, oh, are we back?
sorry. Got me?
Yeah, we're back. You may want to edit that part out.
Oh, okay, I will.
Okay.
15
So,
minutes, 15 and a
yeah.
half. So if you could invest that time and make better content or more money elsewhere, then what would push you to do the shorts? So I was like, okay, well, let's be creative here. If I talk about this piece of gear, which I talk a lot about gear anyway, how can I monetize that? So I was like, well, with YouTube, I could maybe pin a comment and then that make that an affiliate link. So then if
Okay.
people click through it, then obviously they can help support you and your channel.
Yeah.
But that's kind of my strategy going in, and I've only done like I don't know 5 to 10 of them so far, but we'll see. I don't know. It's interesting and exciting doing something different and
Mhm.
trying to balance like that workflow.
Right.
Working on this and that because yesterday I worked like 2 hours on editing my South Dakota trip.
Which I cannot wait for that to see that. I really can't wait to see that. I
It,
watched Jason's.
I think I'm the last one to upload mine.
Yeah, I haven't seen the other guys yet. I need to did Miyagi do one?
Well,
He like never like his videos usually are like 6 months late.
his yeah, a lot of times they're a little bit behind, but he works really, really hard on his videos.
Yeah, because
So,
he's got so many banked up.
yeah, and I think he takes the time to make them as good as he possibly can. And my opinion is always like done is better than perfect. Like as long as it's not, it has to be above a certain satisfactory level. Obviously, you can't
Yeah.
just put out something just to put it out. But
Well, you're not building up you're not trying to build up a video creation repertoire. You're trying to build up content.
yes, and it's for fun. So, I mean, you make money on it, but at the end of the day, you do it because you enjoy it, not because somebody's paying you to do it.
Right. Right. Yeah, if you're just in it for money, you're gonna be struggling probably.
Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit of backpacking. Let's get off the video topic for a little bit. Let's talk a little bit of backpacking. So Jeremiah, what are have you started putting some plans together for your fall for things that you're wanting to do?
Well, I know that for fall break, Bridget's gonna want to go to a beach somewhere, but she says that she's wanting to practice for the Camino. So that means
Ooh.
we need to backpack together.
Yeah.
So I don't have anything scheduled yet to take her on, but I'm excited to be able to get back out and maybe go somewhere to get the leaves changing.
Yeah, man, that would be great. That would be great. I know I'm planning I still want to get down to well, what was the one now I
Foothill.
can't think of it. I am doing the Foothills Trail. That's a given. But I want to get back down to the Savage Gulf. That's where I want to go.
Mm,
I
yeah,
really want to get down there. Maybe you and Bridget could go with me on that.
yeah, that could be a potential. Wasn't that one of the places that you throwing out for me, you, and Jason to go to?
Yeah, there's supposed to be tons of waterfalls. It's kind of like the Red River Gorge, except they call it a gulf instead of a gorge. I don't know what the if you're listening right now or watching right now and you know the difference between a gulf and a gorge, please let us know. I just know that you're up on a ridge and there's a deep cavern below you. And but yeah, it's supposed to be really beautiful. I've actually seen a couple of videos that people have done from there, and I just want to check it out. I've been wanting to check it out for 2 years. I had a trip planned a couple of years ago, and due to my buddy's work and some weather issues, we weren't able to make the trip. Um, but yeah, I really want to get down there pretty bad.
Man, at what point? So, like, we were just talking about the weather a couple minutes ago for Jason and I going on this kayaking thing. At what point and what situation do you be like, okay, I'm gonna have to change my plans because of the weather? Because there's people out there through hiking right now in this heat wave, and there's gonna be
Yeah,
people that are out on trail and they're gonna get hit with these thunderstorms that are coming. At what point do you start second guessing and thinking about that in what situation?
I think extreme heat, like when it starts getting up in the mid to upper 90s, It's
Mhm.
just I'm not going. Like it's not even fun at that point. So that and torrential high winds. I'm more nervous about high winds than I am rain.
Yeah, the rain's inconvenient, but the wind
Yeah.
blowing the limbs out, that can be
Yeah.
dangerous.
Well, and you just never know. Like you could be hiking down a trail and all of a sudden a tree falls in front of you. You know, like um when I was in the Smokies about 2 years ago with my buddy Josh, we were at this campsite and we heard a noise. And I'm not kidding you, 20 feet from us, this 30, 40, 50-foot tree just falls. Like, right past us. It was crazy, and you just never know, and we were out in a storm, like, we were wet that entire day. We hiked through rain the entire time, got to our campsite, everything was soaked. We couldn't even get a fire going that night because you know how the Smokies are.
Mhm.
Sometimes you just don't win on that one, and, so we couldn't even get a fire started. We worked on a fire for 2 or 3 hours, couldn't get it started. Decided, "Okay, we're just not gonna have a fire tonight," and, but everything was soaked, and that tree fell, and it was terrifying because it wasn't that far from us.
Jason and I went to Cranberry Wilderness last year, I think it was, and we got that 4 days straight of rain,
Yeah,
and there was no fires. I mean, it's like I did get some of the best sleep because, like, laying in your hammock with
in
the
the
rain,
rain.
yeah, you
Yeah,
hear the tarp above you, and you hear the pitter patter of the rain. Ah,
that's
man,
nice. That is
yeah.
nice.
I think I slept from, like, 2 o'clock to 8 o'clock, but then you're, like, screwed because you wake up and it's 8 p.m. and you're like, "Well, it's raining and it's 8 p.m. and it's getting dark and it's gonna continue to rain. I'm stuck in this hammock. So what do I do?"
Well, I know I went out with, Mark Goes Hiking. We were out at the Red River Gorge a year ago, I think, and the night that we spent the night out there, the wind and rain came, and it blew my tarp out twice. Like,
Blew the
one
stake
time
out
pulled
of
it out of the ground. Yeah, one time I actually pulled the stake out of the ground, and, I remember halfway through the night having to lower my tarp because there was so much wind, it was just blowing water up underneath the tarp, and, just wind is worse than anything, I think. I
Yeah,
can deal with a lot. Cold never seems to really bother me too much. I can deal with cold. You can always put more clothes on. Heat, you can only get so naked before it's just inappropriate. Um,
yeah,
but, but wind, man, wind is just it's unforgiving. I remember you were out at the gorge with Mark and, Crow,
uh-huh.
a year or 2 ago, and it blew your tarp out, and your entire hammock and everything was filled with water, wasn't it?
Yeah, and that mistake was on me because a lot of people think with the tarps, like, if you're hammock camping, a lot of people think, like, you pitch your tarp in this A shape, and you kinda do, like, it's connected on each side either by a ridge line or, like, line locks or something to the 2
Right,
trees that you're tied to, and then it's staked out usually in each of the 4 corners.
right.
And if you do it very, very close to your hammock, then if it rains, you don't get a whole lot of coverage. So most of the time, what we do is instead of a strict A, you spread that A out to more of an obtuse angle at the top. And then that gives you a lot more coverage and it gives you this big dry zone under your tarp. Well, you can take it one step further and do what's called porch mode, which
Yeah,
is where you basically you have a support under one side of your tarp. You put a pole
trekking
under
poles or something like that.
trekking poles, a stick that you break, whatever, and prop your tarp up, making yourself a little roof. Well, I did that and didn't think anything about it, and we left camp. And
Right.
then we got hit by a storm while we were out of camp. And then I got back and there was like 25 gallons of water just floating in my hammock, sitting there in my tarp where it was laying on the ground.
Yeah,
But that was a quality tarp because it wouldn't have held all that water if it had any leaks or anything like that. Shout out to Miyagi for making that.
making a beast of a tarp. Yeah, I know, like, that's what I'm saying about wind. Like, I can deal with cold, and I can deal with heat up to a point, but once it starts getting, like, mid to upper 90s and high humidity and all, I just no, I'm done. I'm good. That's not even fun at that point, because that
Well,
usually means when you go to bed at night, it's, like, 85 degrees at, like, 10 o'clock at night,
yeah,
and, it
leave
just
that
stops being fun because you don't wanna do a fire because it's too hot for a fire,
mhm.
and, I mean, it's not that much fun, I don't think.
Whenever I sleep in a tent and it's going to be like really hot like that, I have taken just a flat sheet, like a cotton sheet, and use that instead of a sleeping bag. I don't know what it is, but like the the material that sleeping bags are made out of, whenever you're sweaty, that just feels so icky on my
Yeah.
skin, and
Yeah.
it like sticks to you. I don't know. It's
Yeah.
just misty.
Yeah, nylon doesn't feel real good on the body when you're sweating. That's for sure.
What about the cold, man? What about the guys that are up there doing the freeze your butt hang and like the -40?
If I already have a trip planned and when we find out it's gonna be cold, I'll still go, but I don't plan to go out in, like, stupid cold.
How cold is stupid cold?
I think anything under 0 degrees is when it starts getting stupid cold. Then you get to, like, the -29s and all that stuff that some of those guys do, but they're doing that on purpose.
Have you ever seen that show Mountain Men on History
Yes.
Channel? There's
Yes.
there's a guy that flies, like, once a year or maybe multiple times a year up to a remote part of Alaska, leaves his family, and stays at a cabin that they built up there and, like, hunts and stuff.
Yep.
And I remember one episode, his snowmobile broke down, and it was so cold out there. He was trying to work on it, and to get these bolts and screws and nuts out and all this from the engine to fix it, like, he had to take his gloves off, and he was like 15, 20 seconds of no glove, and your hand is so cold, your dexterity is pretty much gone, and you
Right.
can't work on it with gloves on because you can't, if you're trying to unscrew a nut off this bolt to
Yep.
adjust things, you just can't do it, man.
Not happening.
The cold. It's too cold.
Yeah, I know for me, I just love fall weather, and I like winter in Kentucky because winter in Kentucky doesn't get that cold. It might get to single digits every once in a while,
Mhm.
but honestly, man, Kentucky winter is pretty easy. At least
Yeah,
I think,
it's easy, and in the fall, you get well, first of all, you get my birthday. It's in September.
which is
So, like
important.
yes, and, like, the first day of fall is, like, the 21st or the 23rd of September. I can't remember, but my birthday's the 22nd, so you
You
get
turned
that.
30 this year?
I turned the big 30, dirty 30.
Ooh.
I was wanting to try to go to a concert, maybe, like,
Yeah,
Stapleton or Black Keys or something like that for my birthday, but you get that in the fall. You also get football.
which is a good
Yeah.
thing,
Oh, huge. You get, basketball. You get the
which is
leaves
okay.
changing. Oh, okay, it's fantastic. You get the lea you get the leaves changing, and you get, the cooler weather, man. That's why I think fall is the best.
Yeah, I love fall. I love spring too because everything's coming to life in the spring, and so you're starting to see the buds come up on the trees. That's where you see a lot of the flowers and stuff forming on the trees. And I love spring as well. Like spring and fall are definitely the best 2 seasons, I think. But I
I love
do like winter backpacking. I actually really enjoy it. I don't mind being out in the snow and all that. That doesn't really bother me. I actually kind of enjoy it.
dude, I'd take it all day over backpacking in the July heat.
Yeah,
I just can't
100%.
do it, man. I have to stick
100%.
stick to that lake life.
Yeah, dude, I that's one of those things I would have to agree with you on 100%. I am not a huge fan of hot weather backpacking. It saps all the energy out of you. Climbs that are difficult are twice as hard, because it's harder to breathe that thick, musty air, and the heat's just oppressive, man. It's oppressive. It beats you down. So
Yeah.
I will definitely take spring and fall over anything. Fall's probably
Amen.
my favorite though. Fall is probably my favorite.
You see this mop?
Oh yeah, dude.
I'm gonna go get it cut right now.
Are you really? You're getting out of here to go get a haircut.
It's scheduled, man. My barber stays booked up. He's the best.
Is he well, see, my barber's getting ready to leave the country for about a month. So I gotta go get my haircut this week, or I gotta find somebody else to do it because he's from another country. So he goes
Well,
over to Eastern Europe. I can't remember which country he lives in, but he goes over to Eastern Europe and he's gone every year at the same time. And a bunch of guys start looking real shaggy in my town.
you'll be styling and profiling, man. I'm gonna do the big, maybe like a coif or something like that. I've been letting this hair grow and let my beard grow ever since Miyagi shaved it. Oh, and let me say for the record,
Yes.
I need to retract my statement about the poop and Miyagi situation. He said that he did not do anything poop related when it comes to pranking me in South Dakota.
So somebody else did it.
Somebody else must have done it, or
got-
somehow a bird figured out how to wrap up poop in a leaf and stick it behind my sit pad.
We
Or
know that's
maybe
not true.
I could have sat on it and then stuck the sit pad back into the backpack. That is a possibility, but the probability of that is very, very low.
Yes. So what we're saying is over the next week, we need to do some investigative work and see if we can figure out who this is and relay this to our audience next week.
I'm gonna do some interrogations during the downtime.
Oh, I think it needs to happen. Well, man, good talking with you, buddy. Hope you have a good time getting your hair cut.
Yeah, ditto. The same time next week, baby.
Yes, sir. But for the rest of you all, have a great day, and we will catch you on the next go-round.